and then Cape Race is right over here. So that would be the first place when you're coming across the Atlantic in 1912. That would be the first place that would be able to pick up a wireless transmission after your journey.
Signal Hill.
But I believe it's
Marconi,
nearby.
yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it was Marconi that created the wireless systems that would have been used aboard Titanic and other ships at the time, from my understanding. So this only shows the North American side. So you can imagine that somewhere over here is where Europe is. Yeah. So she was coming here, destined for New York over that way, when she hit an iceberg somewhere around here. So the Carpathia was around this area. So when the Titanic struck an iceberg, at first they were hoping that it was, remember those bulwarks that I mentioned? They were hoping that it was only one or two that were impacted, but too many of them were impacted.
So the bulwarks were right here?
Yeah, so it's basically, so the bulwark is just...
to stop.
Yeah, exactly. So the technology that was brand new at the time would allow the captain on the top deck out by his wheelhouse to just press a button, and through electricity the walls would come down, so that if there was one hole over here, that's okay, you just seal that off. But unfortunately, enough of them were breached that there was taken on too much water. So that is how she foundered and sank eventually. So when she was around here and they realized that the Titanic was taking on too much water, she was definitely going to sink, that's when they started to send out distress signals. However, because there were so many other signals trying to get to Cape Race, basically, whenever you're crossing the Atlantic and you want to tell people, hey, I made it, I'm coming closer to North America, you want to say, hi, Mom. Everybody's trying to send messages to Cape Race, so there's a lot of wireless chatter. Everybody's talking amongst each other. So even though the Titanic was sending out a lot of signals, not everybody was able to hear those signals. And those who did, some of them just thought, oh, the Titanic, she'll be fine, she's unsinkable, right? She was not. So the Carpathia is one of the ships who did hear her distress calls, came as quickly as she could, but coming from Cape Race, by the time the Carpathia got here, the Titanic was already sunk. So the Carpathia just saw lifeboats filled with people.
So unfortunate.
Exactly. So picked up all those 700 survivors, brought them back to New York, and then the Mackay Bennett. And there's three ships: the Mackay Bennett, the Momini, and the Minia were the three ships that were hired out of Halifax to come and pick up to take the dead. Unfortunately.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. I
You're so
appreciate
welcome.
your help. Thank you very much.